Tomas Lodnan, welcome to the Electric B2B show. It is so great to have you here. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Daniel. It's great to be here, and I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, well, the reason I wanted to invite you on this show is because I've been snooping at what you guys are doing on the internet. And as the head of a big technology company, GoodRequest, you are doing some amazing and awesome things. So let me just ask you straight off, what are you most proud of with your company, with GoodRequest?
When somebody asking me this question, generally the answer is that what the projects we did and the projects or the awards we received for our work. But the thing what I'm most proud of is really the team, that how you are able to really grow from, let's say, 5 people to currently 75, and to be able to face all those challenges on the road and basically uh, build something what is making sense and everyone else is seeing it. So that's great.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so can you talk a few words about what GoodRequest does and where you've come from and where you're headed?
Basically, we're a digital studio. So our mission, let's say, is to help our clients, bold brands, to bring interesting and valuable products and solutions. And that's what we do. Basically, we are doing three things. The first one is design, from really design from wide perspective. So it's really starting from user experience, doing some testing, user interface, brand, and so on.
Yes,
The
yes.
second one is mobile application, or like mobile development. So either it's mobile apps or on iOS or Android devices. And the third, the last but not least, is enterprise solutions for our clients, basically handling some processes, internal systems, and trying to make some processes more efficient. So these are the three things what we are
Yeah,
doing.
great, great. So you are now 75 people strong, and you're not a typical company in quite a few senses. And one of them being that you are not based near a big city in a capital, you are based the northeast of Slovakia. And how has that worked out for you? Far
Well,
from the
it actually,
capital.
yeah. We are 200 kilometers from capital, which is quite far, but still reachable by car. And you are there in 1.5 hours, so it's not that far. And yes, it's not that typical because the quotation is simple. The business is done in a capital city, and we have the same game. And basically, I would say maybe 70 to 80% of our Slovak business is done in capital city. But yeah, well, the company has started on University of Žilina. Basically, the graduates of University of Žilina, I put together a team from my colleagues and from my teammates. So it was
So
kind
it
of natural
started it
way.
started in a college dorm room like so many great companies in the world.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly, something like that. So somehow we were based in here, and yeah, before the call we were just discussing. We have great mountains around and great nature. So yeah, somehow we stayed here, and I don't regret it.
Okay, what are the advantages of being in a small city and doing a semi-global business, because you have clients from abroad as well, and you're getting
Yeah,
more clients from abroad. But
yeah.
so what are the advantages of not being based in the busy capital?
Definitely commuting.
Yeah.
That's a huge advantage because when you are in a city like Žilina has approximately 100,000 people, like citizens, and then there are let's say a couple more smaller cities around. But yeah, well, you are approximately 15 minutes on bicycle everywhere. So it's kind of great, and I'm really liking getting to work and back on bicycle during these nice days. um, yeah, well, there's definitely advantage is that you probably don't have such a big problem with being recognized internally, like in the city. So
Yeah.
basically you are well known within this region. But yeah, well, there are many disadvantages, of course, if I may go to them straight away. The very first one is that you are somehow lacking the talent, because most of the talent are trying to get to the capital, and most of the students, and there are three universities in Chile. There is only one. So of course, this is the disadvantage, and also that when you are doing the business, you need to get used on traveling by car to Bratislava and back.
Yes.
But yeah, well, a huge positive, and maybe this is also somehow because of the pandemic, because of the
Hmm.
COVID, that many meetings are really currently having online, and also we are having this conversation online, and most of our clients, we have daily statuses or weekly statuses, and even with the clients from Bratislava, somehow everyone just get used to have online meetings. So we'll see if this is going to change or not.
Yes, it's a mandatory question right now with the pandemic about what percentage of the people are working from home. Um, what percentage approximately are full time in the office, and what percentage are sort of hybrid?
Well, of course, we as an IT company were since the beginning very positive about home office. So we were somehow even supporting, like, okay, guys, use home office as you want. We don't have any limits for it. We didn't have actually, and but now, as you said, the last point, the hybrid model, the mixed model, is getting very popular actually, and we have I would say maybe 30 to 40% people who want to go to the office from time to time, maybe 1 2 days a week, but then they want to stay at home from the reasons that, okay, I'm able to focus more on work when I'm at home, and this group actually really growth because of pandemic. So yeah, it's interesting, and because of this we also decided to change few offices and change few square meters, and to actually react on
Uh,
this and to offer more floating spaces and things like that.
Awesome. Tomasz, listen, what your company is doing, or how it looks on the internet, is that you guys are super focused on culture, and you as a leader are doing a lot of things that your counterparts in tech companies are probably coveting from you, because you're talking about culture, you're out there on LinkedIn talking about the people, talking about the underlying philosophy of everything that you do. Can you talk about what was the process for that? Does this come for you naturally?
It's really hard to say if it's coming from me naturally, because on the way really from my teenage to graduating on college, you are meeting so many people, you are reading so many books, and it's influencing you. You are following some kind of leaders, on LinkedIn or wherever, and basically it's influencing you. But for me, it's really natural to build a company which is based on culture first, and really the team is the number one priority. And I think that if we are able to build a good team, we are able to overcome any obstacle, right? Because
I agree.
currently we are doing these three things. We are doing some technology things, which is some concrete specific languages and so on. But the fact is that the business is changing pretty often and pretty fast, and especially in things in industry what we are doing. And for me, it's paying too much attention on technology. Well, of course, you need to be great in technology. That's fact, but 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 the step before is to focus on team, to be able to reflect on changes, to be able to handle the growth, to be able to handle the big project, maybe the biggest we ever had, and so on. So if you are really focusing on culture and building this, that this is something what needs to be working, no matter what kind of project will come, then you are able to really sustain, and that's what we are trying to do.
Yeah. Okay. And what is your recommendation for technology leaders who know that they're supposed to be doing what you are doing, but they say they don't have the time or they don't have the inner drive to do it? How should they get over the block? Because almost everybody knows that they should be talking about culture, they should be nurturing culture, and they should really be stepping up on social media and on various places in the internet to talk about the company, to talk about the mission, and
Yeah.
how can they overcome this obstacle?
Well, look, I really believe in a team, and the thing is that, okay, maybe for me it's pretty natural to speak about these things, and I somehow was maybe even educated in this way and so on. I had the privilege to, I don't know, maybe attend school which really pay attention about this. But if you are a team leader, or if you are a leader of the company and you are more the geeky guy to just focus on technology, I'm pretty sure in your team you have great COO or maybe great HR, somebody who will be able to somehow take this role instead of you. And I'm not really big fan that you need to be able to do everything. And I think that you need to recognize your role in a team. And if, for example, in my team works much better than I'm playing this role,
Yeah.
then I'm, for example, interested in technology because I have great CTO who is much more deep in that, and he's bringing more value in defining the technology direction for us than, for example, I would do. So I'm trying to really fit in the team and trying to recognize where are my strengths. And if you are a leader who, for let's say, you don't have this kind of abilities, or don't have, it's not coming from you naturally, then don't be afraid and to support the leadership and take somebody from a team and highlight them and make them somebody who will be responsible for this.
Right. Great. Yeah. So find somebody who already has the propensity or the personality to drive culture and to put it out there to the world, and
Yeah,
and just support them in that. Yeah, that is great
yeah.
advice. Okay. And what do you see? What are your current challenges?
Well, I used to say that a lot of people who are in our company are born and raised in GoodRequest. So it means that they really started to work from us early after the university, after the college, and basically they don't have many experiences from other companies. And it's this applies also for team leaders or roles which should be naturally like leadership, called leadership positions. And my biggest challenge currently, of course, we have a lot of challenges in the company, but what I am focusing on is to really support the leadership team and make them as create them as space as possible for investing their time to their team, so basically they can support their teammates, and of course to help them to overcome their something like coaching, mentoring, thing that help them to overcome their
Right.
problems within their teams. Because of course, when you are running a company which is, let's say, as similar to us, and you have 75 people, then it's impossible that you are in touch with everyone, right? So you are in touch with some kind of leadership team, and your role is to be able to help them to become great leaders, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, because you are at that stage. Exactly, because they say that up to about 80 or 90 people is the point, is the maximum where you know everybody's name in the company. But above
Exactly,
90 or
exactly.
100 people, you don't, and that's when you need the middle management to come in, or even
Yeah,
sooner at around 50 or 60 people. So that's where you are right now.
yeah. Well, of course, as you said, there are some kind of breaking points, and the company you are running, and you have 20 people, it's totally different when you have 40 people, and it's again totally different when you have 80 people. So basically, yeah, we have middle management, let's say, since 50 people, but the thing is that also their role is changing because the team is growing, different positions are created, were created recently, and so basically the organization structure is a bit changing, and yeah, it's the change is difficult, either we like it or not. The change is always difficult, and you need to basically help those leaders to get used on change and help them to somehow think of the change as a possibility, or something what can bring something new, and yeah, that's important.
Actually, I was just reminded by what you said of a quote from Tony Robbins, and he says, actually, you don't have to work on change because change is automatic, but progress isn't automatic. So, in order to
Yeah.
turn change into progress and not digression, that's what you have to work on.
Yeah, that's very well said. And Tony Robbins is great in this. And also one who I'm really inspired is Simon Sinek. Start with the why. It's
Yeah.
also always great question when you are stuck in some kind of discussion on whatever management meeting of any kind of problem, and you are discussing this problem, and maybe change the really question that why we are discussing, what's the value, why we are need to be able to do this, and so
Yeah.
on. And it's and a changing perspective, and it's great. Yeah.
That is, it's so powerful. Like I found that um, I really got in the habit of taking on too many meetings, especially with the pandemic. Zoom was such a convenient thing to quickly talk to people instead of writing an email. Just dial them up and quickly talk about it. And and I actually saw somebody posted a video from Simon Sinek, and start even every discussion and every meeting, like you said, with the why. Okay, why are we talking about this? Does it even need to happen on a synchronous discussion? Can it be
Yeah,
asynchronous by somebody writing down their thoughts and then have people reply to it? Because if there's not much discussion to be expected, then why have a live discussion? If it's just, exchange of information, it doesn't really make sense to interrupt somebody's day and take up bandwidth, physical bandwidth and mental bandwidth for that. So yeah, like start everything with why, starting from the 10-minute meetings all the way to the obviously the big
exactly.
company goals and the life goals
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. But
everything in between.
when you count down to those 10 minutes together, you're right. So you are basically saving so much time, and yeah, you can invest in somewhere else, maybe towards your life goals, not just for some small thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's powerful.
Speaking of life and life goals, Forbes did an interview with you and they featured your company. And in that interview, I know you talked about something that really interested me and a lot of commenters on LinkedIn, and that is, who do you attribute or what do you attribute your success to? Because obviously, you, like everybody, has a background. And uh, obviously, you make decisions in life. So, how does that all combine into what you are today and what you've grown GoodRequest to be?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. Actually, yeah, it started like that we had this discussion in Forbes, and we of course spent, let's say, 50% of this interview about culture because they were interested in that, and then I had the follow-up podcast with Yergi about basically your life road, how did you how I started, and basically how things were happening to me and so on, and yeah, and I follow up with the LinkedIn post that. Yeah, well, I think that if you are thinking about yourself that you made this success, it's too selfish because on the way you were influenced by so many people, and of course you can be influenced positively or negatively. That's the fact, and you are doing this judgment. But even the judgment you are doing is some kind of process you have in maybe since your childhood or since your parents or whatever era which influenced you, and yeah, well, you are thinking that you are doing those decisions just by yourself, but the thing or the result how it's done is because of the past you had, and that's something what is important to understand, that okay, I'm here, but I'm really grateful for what I have been before and how these things influence me, my parents, my school, I don't know, my friends, my family, my wife, and everything, and it's putting together. And I think it's really important, no better well, because we see it many times that especially young people and startups are looking for overnight success, and that okay, I sleep over and I'm successful, and basically it's it will just blow and rocket, and I don't know, Elon Musk, and I'm sending the ships to Mars, and and those guys are generally people don't see that those years of preparation, right? And again, we speak right now because GoodRequest is pretty successful company, but we are 7 years old, and of course we really need to go step by step and day by day and get somewhere here. And it applies to everything. And if you want to achieve bigger things, and okay, you want to really send rocket ships to to Mars,
Yeah.
you really need to follow, and you really need to understand that being in a good environment is important. That is the very first one. Being in people who are influencing you positively, maybe even maybe unfollow people from Facebook or whenever, some influencing you in bad way, and it's your choice, of course, but it's something what is basically mirroring your past. And and the power is that if you are aware of it, you can plan the future. You can plan how you will be influenced by which factors, and then you can become a better person, or maybe reach the goals you set.
Yes, yes. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation with the technology executive, because I really think this piece of wisdom is really missing from our industry. Because if you look at other industries, like you go to an HR conference and everybody's talking about these things like gratitude and all these soft aspects of life that really combine with that really make who you are and make you a better person and make you a better leader. And it's this dialogue, I think, is really missing from technology companies, because as you said, in the startup culture, everything is about fast success and sleeping long hours and then waking up to a fortune, or at least that's the assumption that many people have. And what they miss out on is this part, which in my opinion, it comes down to gratitude and
Yeah.
just really acknowledging that, number one, you're not in this alone. Number two, it's not you who carries everything and all the weight of the world on your shoulders to make something happen.
Yeah. Well, and in the end, well, if you are really investing a lot in the culture and the gratitude and things we just mentioned, then the result typically is that you have a great team around you, and you are able to even face much more difficult challenges. And when let's say the startup is coming to some kind of really complex problem and they are doing it, it solves easier if you have right culture in the company, right processes and right attitude, and you can overcome these problems much easier. So it's kind of investment to the future, and maybe you don't see these results right away because it's not kind of low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
But it's something what you're doing, and you are able to see the results maybe after years.
Speaking of success and the future and difficulties, have you had to face any difficulties where this culture, this asset that you mentioned, with the great team and with all the support, where it really came in handy, where it was really
Yeah,
tough
well,
and you really had to rely on the team and you felt that, oh my goodness, if we didn't have this great team, then we would be in some baloney right now.
I think it's something what you can see on really daily basis, something what can be seen on projects, on deadlines, on basically the work what we are delivering to our client. But one moment really comes to my mind right now, which was kind of intense. That approximately in the third or approximately yeah in the third year of the company, we had really bad experience with one startup, which basically it was kind of failed. That they didn't pay us what we delivered, and it was difficult because we were a young company with very tight cash flow, and basically it influenced us a lot,
Yeah.
and we had to somehow pour some money back to company and take some loan and so on. And it was very intense moment before the Christmas, because of it happened before of Christmas, and it's the worst time when you don't have money because of it's Christmas, and you need to be able to somehow
Okay.
get some send some paychecks to your employees. And yeah, we had this kind of gathering, and I gathered all the team, and I told them that okay, this has happened. You actually know what happened with this client, that it was fail and they didn't pay us, and we had problems in it, and we still didn't overcome it, and we are facing approximately a few months uh, up ahead, which will be difficult. And yeah, we are not able to raise the salaries. We are not able to get some bonuses before of Christmas. And I will totally understand if anyone will say like, okay, this is it, I'm done. But if you stay and if you believe in this, I like guarantee you that it will be much better after half year, and we'll get back on track. And the next year we will cover it. And it was very intense that everyone in the room, it was in that time, it was, let's say, 30 people. And in that time, in the moment, it was that everyone was like, well, it happened, we need to overcome it, that we are in this together, all as one. So no one left the team. And yeah, I think it was even more bonding for us to experience something like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Step number one, which is very counterintuitive and uh, very much the opposite of what people want to do in a situation like this, is to just admit it and be flat out honest and
Yeah.
communicate it. So, not just in one-on-one conversations, but to like step in front of the company and say, guys, this is the situation. That is so awesome. And then
Yeah.
the second thing, which I gathered from this, is that it's not enough to be just upfront and frank and honest about the bad situation, because if you just leave it at that and say, well, let's hope for the best, then people freak out. And what they want in a leader is actually to have a plan. So it's one thing that you're
Yeah.
honest, which they appreciate, and it makes them feel safe because they're sensing it and they know it already. And then there's talk,
Yeah, of course.
over the lunch table and during coffee. Hey, did you hear? Oh, or I wonder if we're going to get paid. I wonder what's going to happen to the company. So you really have to get that address, the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And then, but the step two, what makes them confident and be able to really like stay in the boat and keep rowing and keep going is for them to see that you actually have a plan and that you yourself believe in this, but that you actually have a plan. And that's what I gathered from you. And I think that's these two are the key steps in a situation like this, which you handled really well.
Yeah, very well said. You need to be able to communicate the vision, and it's many times underestimated. Many leaders think that they just it's fine to send some email and they will understand it, but communicating the vision and communicating the plan, as you said, is crucial. And getting that buy-in from employee or from customer, for anyone,
Yeah.
is crucial. And if you are able to do it, and if you are, as you said, honest, I think that you will be successful in it, and it can really bring the value after all.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And then this really strengthened your team. And what do you see about the future? What's coming for GoodRequest? What are your big goals and ambitions?
Our when we started the discussion, I said that we are in Žilina and doing. The fact is that we are really doing most of our business currently in Czechoslovakia, so Czech and Slovak Republic,
Mhm.
and we already have several customers in DACH region or Nordic. And yeah, for us, the biggest challenge for upcoming years is definitely to somehow change the ratio, because currently we have, let's say, 80% of the business in Slovakia or Czech Republic and 20% abroad, and we want to change this ratio to, let's say, 50-50.
Oh, wow.
And the reason is simple, because currently we are doing really great projects and great solutions for really top brands in Slovakia or Czech Republic. And when you are responsible for the team and you see how the team is growing, they are getting hungry, they are basically getting hungry for doing bigger challenges, bigger projects, more interesting technology, and so on. And that's my challenge, to basically be able and to bring much more interesting clients, maybe European level, to face totally different situations, and we are looking for it. And yeah, that's our challenge. Of course, there are many steps to prepare for it. It's not just the sales, because of course you can start doing sales very
Yeah.
easily, but yeah, you need to have leadership team who knows why we do it, and to change the processes, change, build some basics for it. And yeah, that's what we are doing now. And we are hoping that really in 3 years, and there's our plan, to be not just the regional player, but being a player within the, let's say, the whole CE or even DACH or Nordic.
Awesome. Awesome. And do you also have, because you have strong sales, do you also have a marketing team that supports them in a marketing plan? Or is that even
Yeah, of
necessary?
course.
Because a lot of times you can get to 150 people and not have much marketing and just do it through referrals and through personal connections and networks. And what's been
Yeah,
your
well,
experience with this?
yeah, this actually happened to us as well. That we didn't have marketing, let's say,
Mhm.
I don't know, first 5 years, right? So yeah, it was going through referrals, it was going through recommendations, and basically it was like snowball. But yeah, we have marketing team, and like interesting is that we started to building marketing not because of the sales, but because of the hiring. Because you need to be recognizable within the area,
Yes.
within the employees, and so on. So we started because of the hiring process. And but currently, yeah, for us, it's the marketing is really about the values and communicating what we are doing, and communicating that, okay, you want to come to be part of this company, or you want to come and, let's say, become our client. We want to do this job in marketing upfront, to tell you that who we are, how we are thinking, and what you might expect. And if we are doing it correctly, then it really pays off. And somehow we started discussion about new project, but clients already know about our processes, because he read about our process, our blog, or read our article with me in Forbes. And
Yes.
so basically he already knows how we are thinking about doing projects. So it's really something what is, again, a long-term investment, but it makes sense. It makes sense, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so your marketing is focused primarily around employer branding and then PR, where you communicate the values. And then that actually gets around to client acquisition because obviously, PR is a way.
Yeah, you said
Yeah,
it right.
yeah, yeah. And are you planning on building out any sort of formal digital marketing, for example, marketing automation, or account-based marketing, or a semi-aggressive marketing plan that really supports sales? Is that on your agenda, or you don't see that as necessary because you can expand without it?
Well, we don't see it as a like main focus. We're definitely looking at it because when you are expanding to different countries, usually the word of mouth is not working because
Yes.
first of all they don't understand you. Second of all, the customers you are having and the references you already having might be unknown for them, right? A couple of days
Yes.
ago, I had one discussion with great representative from one big bank from Nordics, and we were just having discussion and basically he said like I see that you're doing great job and I see it on everywhere, but yeah, well, the references you are talking to me are for me unknown, or well, you are doing one bank, I know them, but the rest of them are big brands here, but for them is nothing. So yeah, when you are expanding into country and which is like really far away, or let's say you don't have much presence there yet, you need to focus also on different kind of strategies, and we're playing with that, but I really don't want to, you know, end up somewhere to sending 100 automated messages a
Right,
day.
right, right.
That's
Yeah.
not something what is our focus, but really take a look on the market, maybe compared to the compare decision makers in, let's say, Nordic compared to the one we have here in Slovakia, and find the advantages. Like, okay, we did something very similar and we have the use case, you have the case study on this, and this is something what really actually what actually works, that okay, we've done something similar for this kind of client, and we are able to help you, and not just doing development for development, but
Right.
start with the KPIs in the beginning, that what's the goal, why we want to develop this, what should be the outcome, and when we are handling this discussion vice versa, not just like we are selling the hours of developers, but
Hmm.
we're trying to solve your problem, then
Yes.
it's spinning pretty fast and you are getting attention, so we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing that has worked for companies as they were stepping on the international scene is to basically replicate what happens in their home country. And for example, when they go to conferences, because when you go to conferences, and you either present, and you obviously talk to people, what happens is that you're actually giving advice and giving value to people and then connecting. And it's, thank goodness it's pretty easy to replicate that on the internet. If you just look at one social network, LinkedIn, which works for professionals, if you think about it, all you need to do is package the knowledge you would otherwise present at your local conference, um, and then just package it and present it there, and obviously make sure it gets to the right people. But there's a technique to that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the conversations which you would have in person at events is something that can also be sort of replicated on social media networks. And obviously there's a way to do that the right way and the wrong way, but it's really a great advantage, and it's working for companies in our region.
Yeah,
So it's
100%
good.
agree.
Yeah, but you are already on that path, as I see, because you're giving some great value.
I just maybe will just somehow encourage other people who are maybe new to this topic to really take time to think about it. It's not that difficult. We many time used to say, well, we are doing this parallel, like human centered, like put your team and or no matter if it's your team or the customer, like the people in the center, and build everything around it, and it will work. So yeah, even if you're a technology company, in the end it's about the people, not the technology.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, humans in the center. All right. Well, for everybody listening and all you leaders in technology, I really highly recommend that you keep an eye on Tomasz. Where can people find you?
They can follow me on LinkedIn or send me invitation. I will accept you. It's no problem at all. So if you look for Tomas Lodnan or GoodRequest, you can find me. And yeah, of course, if you can also, you can send me an email. It's no problem to tomas.lodnan@goodrequest.com.
Thank you so much again, and best of luck, and we will talk later.